to tonight's recap of the Amazing Race finale.
This was a great season.
Tiaras.
Yeah, I was just disappointed that the last episode was 2 hours.
Why?
Because I like 1 hour shows.
Yeah, but it's the season finale. I can accept that.
Alright, well there's 4 teams left. The doctors, the dating, the not dating, and the Afghanimals.
Alright, so the last leg was in Indonesia, and now they're flying to Tokyo.
Final 6 packed. I hate pacts.
Yeah, the doctors and Jason and Amy were like, let's get an alliance with Tim and Marie, and we'll try to push out the Afghanimals.
Because they are filthy liars, just like us.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Hypocrites much?
Alright, so everybody was on the same flight, the first flight, and then for the connecting flight, the Afghanimals got in there and scored themselves a 10-minute earlier flight.
Yeah, well, any amount of time will help because they have to do a speed bump.
Mm-hmm. So Travis and Nicole, it didn't take them long to go bailing on their Final 6 agreement.
Yeah. They were like, Tim and Marie, we don't want to wait for you to get a taxi.
Yeah, because
Bye.
all of the taxis were traveling, well, all of the taxis besides the Afghanimals taxi were traveling in a little mini caravan because the drivers didn't know where the F they were going and they didn't want to leave each other.
Yeah.
So they came upon a detour. Knock it down or call it off.
Alright, for Knock It Down, it was a Japanese game show.
I love Japanese game shows.
So
they are high energy.
They were doing human bowling, and you had to push your partner down this giant slide, and they had to get a strike.
Right. It was really funny. Marie almost went airborne.
Yeah.
I think she did go airborne. And
the host of the show was hilarious.
He was the best. Alright, so call it off was you had to go inside this giant phone booth filled with goldfish and water and make a phone call and listen to what it said and get your partner to tell the judge what was said. It was like telephone within a telephone.
Right. So I guess these telephone booths are now
works
art
of art
installations.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
So Tim and Marie were with the other two, but then somehow they got confused. They didn't realize that that was actually the detour, so they took off for the other one.
It's probably good that they did that though, because only two teams at a time could do the phone booth one. So.
Right. So it's speed bump time for the Afghanimals. They had to capture a fake rhino. This was fairly hilarious.
It was very funny.
Alright, then, which they did pretty quickly, actually, when they realized exactly what they had to do. So then, they had to go to a fountain, get their next clue, which showed a roadblock.
Ah, pipe up! You had to build a robot.
Using a tiny robot as a model. Right, out of these big pieces of, they look like corrugated pipe or whatever.
I don't even know.
I don't know, but it seemed to be a big problem because there was a lot of patterns on it. It was confusing because the original was small.
Difficult physically, too, to put together.
Right, but Dumb and Dumber teamed up.
Leo and Jamal's words, not ours.
Right. So
he was talking about Nicole and Amy.
Right.
They were helping each other throughout the whole task. They were basically both building 2 robots because they were both working.
They were helping each other yet not helping each other because it turns out that Amy had hers figured out before Nicole's, but then she stuck around to help Nicole, but then she still couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And Travis is freaking out the whole time like the loser that he is. He was such a loser in this episode.
He was saying some really nasty things.
Yeah.
And Marie just like blew past everyone. She put it together so quickly.
Yeah. It was tougher than it looked. So the guys also were talking smack.
Everyone was like, oh, we would get this thing done in no time.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Alright, so then after that they had to find the roaming vending machine.
At this like crosswalk, a giant crosswalk.
That was pretty weird, but
it's cool though.
It is Japan. They do have interesting things there. So then they had to meet up at the shrine, and we find out that Tim and Marie have a little deal going on.
Marie made Tim sign a contract before the race started that she gets 60% of whatever they win, and he gets 40%.
She basically blackmailed him. She was like, if you don't sign it, I'm not going on the race.
Well, that's not really blackmail.
Kind of. Alright, she's getting 60. So they came in first, and they are getting a trip to Aruba, but they're not going together.
No.
Alright, so then Jason and Amy came in second, and freaking Nicole and Travis beat out the Afghanimals.
Ugh, this made me so angry.
Because Travis sucks so bad.
I can't take his attitude.
Yeah, so obviously the Afghanimals are eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
So now, who do we root for? Well, Tim and Marie, of course.
I never thought I would find myself rooting for them.
I know. Well, the last episode started, and they are going from Tokyo to Juneau, Alaska.
And all 3 teams were on the same flight.
But when they got there, they were all fighting for taxis. It was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
I called. No, this is
That's my taxi!
I've been arranged for $1 million. You gotta get me there fast.
Yeah, so then they got to these boats, and again, they were racing in the boats.
Yeah, you know, I don't like that grandstanding sort of thing. Just freaking win the race on your own merits. Don't be like, you gotta beat them, I'm in a race. Alright.
Who was that? Old Man Amazing Race?
All of them. You gotta beat them, I'm in a race.
Okay.
Alright, so it's a roadblock. You had to simulate a supply drop with a bag of flour.
Yes.
And Nicole had to do this one, so guess who's talking smack?
Ugh.
He is getting worse and worse. He's like, oh, she's been effing up the last 3 to 4 challenges and blah, blah, blah.
So the 3 girls were doing this challenge. So Amy got it relatively quickly.
Yeah, after a few.
But it took Marie and Nicole a while.
About 12 or 13 for Marie. And who knows, Nicole could have been there for like 40,000.
Yeah.
So...
he was basically like, it's over. Bleh.
Yeah, he was such a sad sack. He was a real Eeyore.
Yeah, so then they took a helicopter to this ice expedition task.
That was really scary. Because
but awesome.
It was awesome. They had to like shimmy down this chasm, walk across it on this friggin' ladder that was just stuck there, then use these ice picks to climb up the other side. It was crazy.
Yeah, and then they were walking through this tunnel, and then they had to use an ice pick to dig out the next clue. But not all of them were real clues.
Yeah, they were try-agains. So some of the teams went through about 12 different clues before they finally got the one that was the real clue. So then they had to get into a kayak, a tandem kayak, and paddle it, which isn't always the easiest thing. Because if you're not in tune with your partner...
you're not going anywhere.
Exactly. Then, once they got to the marked island, they had to take a helicopter back to Juneau and build a friggin' wall of totem poles.
The last task is almost always this, like, crazy puzzle that, like, encompasses all of the race.
This is probably one of the best ones I've seen in all of the seasons.
I feel like I've seen one like this before.
They had to...
with the totem poles.
Yeah. Well, it was similar. They had to build all of the names of the currency in order from the countries that they visited.
Right.
So that was pretty tough because there was a lot of pieces there. And it was hard to do.
Well, it's for $1 million. You want them to just give it away?
Of course not. It was hard to do because they had to figure out that you can't just stack it.
You have to, like, push it up.
So, unfortunately, Justin and Amy finished first.
He's not Justin. Who is Justin?
I don't know.
His name is Jason.
Jason and Amy. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. I didn't want to see them win, but...
I didn't either. Tim and Marie came in second. They were first loser. And who cares about Nicole and Travis?
Ooh.
I
just want them to, like, be nice to each other.
I can't believe they have 5 kids together and he's still a ratbag to her. She seems to be a little bit more optimistic, at least on the surface, than he is.
I can't believe when she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I, like, disappointed you, and I feel bad about it. You would think that her husband would say, oh, you didn't disappoint me, it's okay. But he was like, it's okay.
Yeah, and he couldn't even look at her.
Yeah, it was rough. I don't like commenting on other people's marriages, but
Mommy and Daddy are calling lawyers.
Let's not go there.
Next season, oh my God, I'm so excited.
It's an all-star season.
It starts in February, and the only team that I'm not excited for, Twinny. You know. So thanks for watching if you did, and hopefully you'll join us next season. And until then, much love.